Hello guys, and welcome to this Volks Wizard Workshop video. Now, as you can probably tell, because it's almost dark at 2 in the afternoon, it's currently December. The nights are very dark and very long, and your headlights, which you kind of forget about in the summer, are your best friend at this time of year because you're using them a lot more often. And it's therefore a good idea to make sure they're working as efficiently as possible. Now, up until a couple of years ago, a popular upgrade was to fit an HID conversion kit, which basically put xenon bulbs into your existing headlight. This was outlawed a couple of years ago and is now an MOT failure, so you can't do it anymore. But the next best thing to do is upgrade the existing halogen bulbs with some better halogen bulbs, and that's what we're going to do today to this Mk5 Golf GTI. We're going to use these Osram Night Breaker Lasers. They've appeared on this channel before. I fitted them to my Up GTI and they are brilliant. They're H7 fitting on this car, so you need 4, basically 2 boxes. They're about just under £20 per box, so about £40 will do this car completely. So you use one in the dipped beam and one in the main beam there. We're also going to upgrade the very yellowy side light bulbs because they're going to look even worse when the other bulbs are upgraded. So I'll just show you those now. You should be able to see them. They look pretty nasty, so we're going to do that at the same time. That's probably actually the hardest bit of the job because the main and dip beam bulbs are really easy. Now, it's probably a bit ambitious this, but I want to do it all in one take because then you can see exactly how long it takes with no editing or anything. So without any further ado, let's get upgrading the headlight bulbs on this Mk5 Golf GTI. Right, no editing now, straight into the job. So it's really easy. On this dip beam, main beam, I'm not going to say it again because I'll probably get the wrong way around. Unscrew the cap on the back, it's just a quarter of a turn anti-clockwise to remove it. That's the cap. Put that somewhere safe so you don't lose it, and then even easier, like an 1/8 of a turn, there's a mounting thing for the bulb. That's it really. That's the back of it, that's the front of it. The bulb's got a little tab that goes into that slot there, and then remove that. Keep them safe because you never know when you might need these, so just don't touch them with your fingers. I'm using gloves to avoid oily marks on the bulb because that will shorten the life of them. And then get your new bulb, which is this. It looks blue, trust me, it's not chavvy blue in operation. It's a nice bright white light, but just wait, I'll show you in a bit. And then slot that in, just try touching it around the base, get the slots in the right place, make a note of the way it says top on there. You got that, it's top. So you want that at the top. This is a little bit fiddly, so pop it in, look at the front really, don't bother looking at the back. When the bulb's sticking out, make sure it's centered in the reflector with the VW logo on it. And then just turn it around until it sits, and then it's a little turn, probably not even an 1/8 of a turn. Make sure it locks into place. That's it, one done. And then put this back on. It does say top on it. There, top, but it just ends up at the top, so put it on in any position almost and it'll be put on properly. That's it, clockwise to lock that into place. Right, unfortunately the main beam bulbs are a bit different because I use one of those horrible fiddly spring clips, but it's still not too hard. So you just pull the rubber cover off the back, no twisting, and then you need to pull the power off it, so it's like a plastic square. So just pull that back like that, because you can't get the spring off until you do that, and you can't see the spring until you get that off. So push that to one side, and then the spring clip, it's like a piece of metal like that, and you have to move it across and then out, and the bulb will then come out. So just be gentle here though, because you can see the reflector moving around a lot, so you really need to be careful. Okay, so that's tweaked that round. So I'm levering the metal spring plate up, and I've got my finger on the bulb. Remember which way it came out, so that's exactly how it was. The tab is at the top. Okay. Again, keep that safe. Get your new bulb, exactly the same as the last one, I won't even show you. Make sure the tab's at the top. And then once you've got it in, just check the front, make sure it's centered in the hole in the reflector. The tab will lock it into place anyway, and then just keep it aligned while you drop the spring back down, and then just reverse what you did. So you're going to have to push it to that way and then clear the metal clip on the reflector and then lock it into place. But again, be gentle, because the way the reflector moves around, it's a bit unnerving and it could be quite easy to break it. And then make sure you put the power supply back on. He says, yeah, that's on. Just pull it back a bit to make sure it's secure. But again, don't push it too hard, because you could detach the reflector and the cap just goes back. Just line it up and push it on. That, believe it or not, is one side done. But what we're going to do is a side light bulb. So that's in the side of the reflector for the main beam, and it's got a little holder, but it's just pushed into the reflector, so you have to pull it out. It's a bit, you have to kind of pull it on the wires really, if you can't get your finger on it. But you should be able to get your finger on it, but then trying to pinch it properly to pull it is really hard. So I think the wires are pretty much designed to be pulled on. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. It's in a little holder, tiny little 5-watt capless bulb. Horrible little thing. These are really cheap, so going to keep it for a rainy day. And these are our side light bulbs, so they've got a bit of condensation on them, but they're just 5-watt capless. They say cool blue intense. Trust me, they're not chavvy blue, as I'll show you later. They're just a nice clear white, so they give you extra brightness, extra distance, and yeah, lovely. Okay, so okay, so find the holder for it, which is tucked under the slam panel. Just slot it in. You can't go wrong. It can go in either way. And then again, look through the front. That's it. And just push it into place. It should click nicely into place. You can't really mess that up. And now you can put the cap back on the headlight. And feeling confident, we'll move on to the other one as I check I'm still in shot. I'd normally edit this out, but as I said, we're doing it all one take. Yeah, I'm still in shot. Okay, got enough mic. So again, rubber off the back of that one, power off the back of that one, spring clip pushed down and that way, and then bulb out. Remember, tab on top, and then we're on to our second box now. Okay, tab on top, look through the front. Oh yes, lovely, lovely. And then be gentle again, because the reflector moves around. Yep, still centered. Put the power on the back. Very important though. The good thing about Mk5 Golf, it will tell you if the bulbs aren't working. So if it does tell you that when you start the engine, it's because you've probably not plugged them in. Okay, that's on, and then we're going to do the side lights. Actually, I got my fingers onto the plastic then, so I wasn't pulling on the wiring. And then that's the old bulb. And there's the new one. And these aren't so bad if you touch them, really. There's nothing, you can't really do much else, to be perfectly honest. Okay, into its holder, and then into its slots. Again, click into place, lovely. So that side done. Rubber cap on the back. And now just take a deep breath, because in theory, this bit's really easy. So twist off the cap on the back of the dipped beam, twist out the holder, try not to touch the glass, find your last bulb, like so, and then that's it in place. Ta-da! well, don't forget this. It's just that's the hard bit, so I'm kind of excited when that goes well, because it can take a few times to get it lined up. And that's it. What time are we on? 10 minutes with the intro, so yeah, not bad. So carefully put all your bulbs back in the boxes, because as I say, it's better to have a normal bulb than no bulb. And I just tend to pack these back up and keep them in the car because they could come in handy. I'll do that later though. So that's them on. I'm going to show you probably in about half an hour when it's dark what they look like now, and then we can go and drive and see what they look like on the road. Okay, well, it's pitch black out here, which is a perfect testing ground for the new Osram Night Breaker Laser bulbs in this Mk5 Golf GTI. But before we test them on the road, let's have a look at them. I've got the engine running just to make sure we have the right amount of voltage getting to the bulbs. Now I've put the original bulbs back into the passenger side so we can compare them side by side, starting with the side light bulbs, and you can see straight away that's a very retro looking yellow glow from that bulb there, while the cool blue intense Osram on this side looks a lot more modern, a lot more cleaner, a lot more 2019 basically. And remember, it's not an LED, so there's no bulb warnings to worry about. It's just a normal bulb, so you can see no bulb warnings there. So let's now put on the dipped beam. So these are the lights you use the most, and on the Mk5 Golf GTI they're the outer bulbs. So in isolation, the dip beam on the passenger side, the original bulb, looks pretty good. It's much whiter than the side light. Then if you compare it to the Night Breaker Laser on the driver's side, it's still yellowy really, and it's visibly not as bright as the Osram. So I'll just try and move the camera around so you can see. That looks fine then, until you compare it with that, and then again this looks a lot more modern and a lot brighter. Onto the main beam then, so we'll have all three of the new bulbs in each headlight illuminated together. Okay, so much like before really, in isolation these look reasonable, especially now the yellow side light bulb can't be seen with the main beam on because it just sort of washes it out. But then you look over to the driver's side, the main beam on that side is again whiter and brighter. So yeah, a pretty good result. But it doesn't really matter what they look like when you're not driving. Let's go and test them on dark lane just here. Now I'm going to put the standard bulbs back into the driver's side first. So we're going to do standard and then put the Osrams back in for the final test. Okay guys, I've not been able to see the footage you just have of the cars driving side by side with the different headlight bulbs in, but obviously I did the driving and the Osram Night Breaker Lasers definitely felt brighter, just like they were suggesting when the cars were parked up. The effect of that is it's a little bit more comfortable on your eyes when you're driving in the dark, and you can pick out a bit more detail, which makes driving easier really. It's worth upgrading main beam and dip beam, but dip beam is the one really because you use that the most. So if you don't want to spend £40 on two boxes, just buy one box and do your dip beam and you will really feel the difference, I can guarantee it. Anyway guys, as ever, thanks for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, please comment, please share, please subscribe as well, and I'll see you for the next one really soon.